Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Loki, and of course everyone has seen all the crazy quotes of Russell Wilson saying he wants to be traded. Oh, is he available? That's a Seahawks question. That means he wants to be traded. He says he doesn't want to be hit anymore. He says he wants control over some of the free agency moves. You've seen all the quotes, but you've seen none of the context. So I'm going to do what the sports media won't do and show you the context to all of the quotes that these sports media people are bringing up. The crazy thing is, it's not even hard to put context to the quotes that are being spewed everywhere. It's literally in a 5-minute video, you can encapsulate every single quote that he has mentioned, and you see every single bit of context that that quote comes from. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be looking at 5 minutes of the interview in which basically every single thing about Russell Wilson wanting out of Seattle and Russell Wilson going to be traded is coming from. And I'm basically gonna show you the context and then give my thoughts on it. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Let's go ahead and watch this video, because Russell Wilson, of course, he's saying he wants out of Seattle. Let's see how bad he wants out of Seattle right here. Now, I got the video pulled up right here, and we're just gonna go ahead and start it.
How much input should the quarterback have in organizational moves? Veteran quarterback.
See, first, it's been 5 seconds. This guy, I've watched this already, by the way. This guy asks so many leading questions. He's basically trying to get Russell Wilson to say the wrong thing, and Russell Wilson tries so hard to say the right thing. And then you'll see, after Russell Wilson spends like a minute explaining what he thinks, like why he thinks it's important, you'll see the question that's brought up.
Depends on who it is, I think.
Well, how about you? How much do you have any say in what Seattle does offensively with free agents or draft picks?
I think that it's I think that ultimately, for me personally, I think that I want to be able to be involved, because at the end of the day, it's your legacy, it's your team's legacy, it's the guys you get to go into the huddle with, and at the end of the day, those guys you got to trust. When you think about, one of the reasons why Tom went to Tampa was because he felt like he could trust those guys, and Bruce was going to give him an opportunity. I think for every situation, you have to be able to go into a situation. You think about guys like LeBron, he was able to be around great players that he can trust. I think for me, anytime you bring free agents in, or other players, you want the best players, guys who love the game, guys you want to be a part of that. And as a player, you kind of know that. You get to be around Pro Bowls, you get to kind of see these guys, you get to.
All of this makes sense, by the way. So far, all of this makes sense. He says you want to be involved as a veteran quarterback because you need players that like the game, are going to be playing the game well, and that are going to play the game well with you. Sorry for the air conditioning. But it makes a lot of sense what he's saying, and he's saying you need to be involved because, someone who plays football, especially a quarterback, would know, how other people are playing.
Be in the huddle with the linemen or receivers, or, get to be around defensive guys. And so you kind of build that over time and get to see who can really play. As a player, you really know. So I think that relationship's really key, and that dialogue between, especially being a veteran player, that dialogue is really important.
Yeah, but that's a long-winded way of not answering my question. Are you involved in personnel decisions? Have you been involved in personnel decisions?
See, this is what I mean by this guy was leading Russell Wilson on. Russell Wilson gave a great answer. He says, yeah, you want to be involved as a veteran quarterback. And now he said, are you involved? Of course, Russell Wilson, he answers it.
Not as much. I don't, I think that,
do you want to be involved, Russ?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to be involved more. But I think that dialogue should happen more often, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you saw that. Russell Wilson, he wants control of the entire team. He wants to be the GM of the Seahawks. Yeah, he basically said it's important for a veteran quarterback to have some control of the players that are brought in, especially on the offense, which makes total sense. Makes so much sense when you think about it, because the veteran quarterback is going to be the guy who knows just about every single thing about the team, knows the team's needs, knows what can help the team, so why would he not be involved in who they bring in? I'm not saying Russell Wilson's not being involved. Russell Wilson said he's not involved as much. He would like to be involved more. That makes sense. That's nothing bad whatsoever. That's one of the things that has been taken as a quote that has kind of pushed the whole Russell Wilson wants out of Seattle, which makes no sense because, it makes so much sense what he said.
But look, I'm worried about these numbers. You've been sacked 394 times in your career. So you're going to be the most sacked quarterback in the history of the game. Why?
Yeah. Well, I think that sometimes you hold on to it a little bit, just because you're looking for that play and you find those guys, but also so many times those turns into touchdowns too. But to be you never want to be sacked that many times. 400 times basically is way too many. 400 too many. So I think that's a big it's a big thing that we got to fix. That's got to be fixed, and has to be, at the end of the day, because my goal is to play, 10 to 15 more years. And so when you think about that and longevity and legacy and all that, and you watch the game the other night, the difference between that game was, Tom was taking shots down the field and getting the ball, to his guys and stuff like that. But, he wasn't touched really. He got touched. I think he got sacked one time in the game, early on, but, throughout the.
And this doesn't even count, Russ, how many times you were hit.
So, okay, before this guy asks another leading question, Russell Wilson has said nothing wrong so far. He says, you don't want to be sacked that many times because of longevity. He wants to play 10, 15 more years. And then he goes on and mentions, the other day, this was a little bit after the Super Bowl, how Tom Brady was basically not touched in the Super Bowl, and he played out of his mind. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life the entire game and was not the same Patrick Mahomes as we've seen throughout the entire season and seasons before. So Russell Wilson is making good points of why it's important to have an offensive line. He's not throwing his offensive line under the bus. He did say it's something we need to fix, but then later on in this, he goes and praises DeJuan Brown.
I mean, that's 394 sacks. Like, that's a lot. And like,
I think you also get away quite a bit too. I get away some too. But,
you do. That's a lot,
but,
though.
I think that we got to get better up front. I think that, and it's not just passing. I think in terms of everything you do, it controls the game, as you watched the other night. I think and obviously guys like Dwayne are such amazing players, and to have him come in was a big thing that I really wanted to make sure that happened. I think that we all wanted to make sure that happened because we knew that what a great player Dwayne was, for example. So so I think that. Throughout the next 10 years, it's really important for me personally, but also just, throughout, my career that, we make sure that we do everything we can, including myself, do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen.
We're talking to Russ.
What did he say wrong? He said Dwayne. I assume he's talking about Dwayne Brown. I've been saying DeJuan Brown. I don't know which. I assume Dwayne's right if Russell Wilson's saying it like that, but he's praising one of the guys that is the key factors. I would have liked to see him praise Damian Lewis, but everyone else is basically expendable on that offensive line. Who cares if he's talking about them? And he's not really even saying anything that bad.
Wilson, what do you make of CBS Jason LaCanfora saying that Seattle had gotten calls for possible trade talks with you?
All right, this is a huge one. This is something that a lot of stuff was focused on, of how he said that's a Seahawks question, but you'll see the context to saying that's a Seahawks question.
Believe that Seattle has gotten calls?
Yeah, I definitely believe they've gotten calls for sure. I think that I think anytime you're a player that tries to produce every week and has done it for consistently, I think people are going to call for sure, and I think it's part of the process.
Yeah, but you're a franchise quarterback. You're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not available, are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm available or not. That's a Seahawks question, but I think more than anything else is
that's a Seahawks question. That's what he was talking about. He said the guy's asking a leading question. You're a franchise quarterback. You're not available, are you? He said that's a Seahawks question. Russell Wilson can't say no, I'm not available, because he has no idea. Any single person can be traded at any single time. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but Russell Wilson's not going to be traded. It's quite obvious. But Russell Wilson, he just can't deliberately come out and say, I am not available, because he doesn't have that answer. That is literally a Seahawks question. That is a question to ask to the front office of the Seattle Seahawks, who they're going to trade, who are they not going to trade, who is available, who is not available. Obviously, Russell Wilson is not available, but still, he can't answer that question.
I think at the end of the day, you want to win. You play this game every day to wake up to win. You play this game to be the best in the world. What I hate? I hate sitting there watching other guys play the game. There's nothing worse.
By the way, you looked miserable at the Super Bowl watching.
Yeah,
the
there's a picture of Sierra and Roger talking. I'm sitting there pissed off. I'm watching this game, wishing that I was in there playing. I think that ultimately you watch the games and you want to do everything you can to be there. That's why we play this game. And so I think that part of it's really key. And I think that the reality of professional sports is, things happen, things change. I'm not sure, how long I'll play in Seattle. I think hopefully it was going to be, be forever, but things change obviously along the way. And
see, that's the thing that shows that he doesn't want out. He said, hopefully it is forever. Hopefully he can play in Seattle forever. Now, this doesn't matter, apparently. You know, everyone's talking about how Russell Wilson's going to be traded. Russell Wilson's being shopped. He's going out. He's basically putting himself on the market. But then he goes out and says, literally after all the things that made him out on the market, he says he wants to be in Seattle forever. It makes no sense why people are still saying that, you know, he wants to be out of Seattle. Of course, he said, oh, things change. But I don't think that means that he wants out of Seattle. I think that means he can't control every single thing. Like, he can't deliberately state that he's going to be in Seattle and he will be in Seattle. If he wants to be in Seattle, he wants to be in Seattle. He can get traded. He's not going to get traded. He shouldn't be traded. It's not sounding like he's asking to be traded. So, like, I just don't get, like, why all this stuff about him being out of Seattle is coming out when literally he said, hopefully he's in Seattle forever. I just don't get where all the negative stuff comes from that. But, I mean, let's just finish this off.
I think that you focus on what you can control every day and try to be the best version of yourself, and ultimately try to win championships. And I think that's that's why I play this game.
And there you go. That is why Russell Wilson plays the game of football. He wants to win championships. Did you hear anything in that interview that stated, I want out of Seattle? I don't want to be in Seattle anymore. I don't want to play for the Seattle Seahawks any longer. I didn't. I heard a couple things of leading questions that he tried to answer as best as he possibly could, said a couple things that, you might be able to take out of context, and that's really it. Of course, I'm pretty sure he's been on other things. There's more of this interview, but that's basically where all the main quotes that have been fueling the Russell Wilson being traded thing has come from. And I don't know why I'm still wearing headphones, but Russell Wilson is not going to be traded. It's quite clear Russell Wilson is going to be in Seattle. He didn't say he wanted to be traded. He didn't say he wants out of Seattle. When he was asked if he was available, that's a Seahawks question. Because guess what? That's a Seahawks question. Russell Wilson can't answer what the front office wants to do. Russell Wilson said he wants a little bit more control. Makes sense. He is a franchise quarterback. He is a veteran quarterback who knows what he's talking about, knows the players on the field, knows what his team needs. And then, of course, the dude asked like 16 leading questions about his offensive line and being sacked a ton. Sorry for the air conditioner again. And he answered, yeah, I don't want to be sacked as much. We have a hole on our team that we need to fix. That is so obvious that it's a hole on the team because he's been sacked 40-something times every single year. There's literally nothing Russell Wilson said wrong in this, and literally nothing that makes it seem like he's going to be traded or him asking for a trade. I don't get why all these things have come out. And guess what? Now that you have the context, now that I have the context, really doesn't seem like he wants out of Seattle. But you see all those quotes and everyone talking about the quotes, you think it's gone. You think he's over. You think you're never going to see him in a Seahawks uniform again. And then people start saying, like Shannon Sharp, how he's always talking about Russell Wilson's wife being an entertainer and she wants to be in LA. And that's the reason why he's going to be traded. Like, I don't get where that stems from, where you're talking about Russell Wilson, and then immediately it comes to his wife wanting to be in L.A. How is he going to be traded to L.A.? Is he going to be traded in division, or is he going to the Chargers who have Justin Herbert? How is he going to go to L.A. or California? He's not getting traded to San Francisco, not getting traded to the Rams. They just traded for Matthew Stafford. San Francisco is a division rival. Why would we trade him there? And LA Chargers, they have Justin Herbert. They have a quarterback for the future. I mean, there is literally no feasible way he could be traded to LA. I mean, unless there's another LA team I just can't think about. I don't get it. There's just a lot of things that don't make any sense when people are talking about the whole Russell Wilson wants out of Seattle and Russell Wilson's going to get traded. It's just very aggravating, very annoying, and it literally, now that you see the context, makes absolutely zero sense. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought. Did you have the context before this video? Did you know the context of what these quotes were coming from? And now that you know the context, does it make a lot more sense why he's not going to be traded? And why those quotes are just completely out of context? Let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.